Hi, everyone. My name is Jackie Murray, and I am your guide through the structured learning technology curriculum for first grade. We're on lesson 6, which is problem solving. Problem solving is one of those lessons that you really spread throughout the year. You don't teach it and be done with it and move on. It's just not that sort of thing. You want students to become problem solvers, critical thinkers. So you do it by going through some of the exercises you'll find in this lesson to just get thinking about problem solving, that they can solve their own problems, and getting some of the most common solutions to them. So that's what we're going to do here. You could definitely spend a 45-minute class going over this to start with, but then you reinforce it, circle back on it throughout the entire year so that they come out of the end of first grade feeling like they are problem solvers. Now, this is one of those lessons that is covered in kindergarten through 8th grade. Every grade level has a problem solving unit. So students will quickly get the idea that they are expected to try to solve their own problems before sitting with their hand up, wishing you'd come over and take care of it for them. Okay, so vocabulary, a few new ones because these are ways that you might problem solve. Guess and check, inductive reasoning, pattern, relevant. So go over some of these as they apply to your first grade group. Try, fail, try again. Failure is absolutely fine, and they'll learn a lot by failure. So you want them, kindergarten, certainly first grade, to start understanding that failure isn't the end. Failure doesn't mean, okay, ask someone else to do it for them. It means try again, try a different way. Problem solving, these are, some of them are hardware, some of them are common problems. There are about 20 to 25 common problems you want students to absolutely know how to solve, and that will cover over half of their problems. So these are them. Double click doesn't work, push enter. These are at least 5 of them. So these sorts of things are really good for students to get used to knowing. Problem solving is under new and scaffolded because they have done problem solving before, but this year they're going to take a little different approach to it. Okay, the essential question, how can I solve tech problems I've never seen before? Well, that's a legitimate question. What do you do when there are so many of them? There's always going to be one. Don't you always have to have a tech specialist there to help you with them? But you don't. Most tech problems are the same 20 to 25 that are repeated over and over in different circumstances. That's one big idea about that, is that the same problem repeats itself. So learn those. Another one is the same strategy for problem solving is useful in lots of different situations. So if you know the strategies, you're going to be able to solve the problem. Assessments are kind of normal. I don't think there's any new ones there. We're definitely thinking higher order thinking skills because of problem solving. Talk to your grade level team and see if there are some tech problems that regularly come up with students, because those might be ones that you want to address, use as examples in this lesson rather than one that's in the book here. Okay, there's 4 sections: problem solving overview, hardware, because you want them definitely to be their own problem solvers with hardware. There's just too many times where hardware is a problem, but it's usually the same problem. Short keys, where they can find a tool with a short key, keyboard shortcut, rather than the tools and the toolbars, and it's hard to figure out. They're all nested so often, and where the heck are they? So there we go. And then there's a challenge at the end. So sometime during the year, probably towards the end of the year, they've learned their problem solving. They've solved a lot of problems. So now let's see what they remember about them. So you're going to mix all these up throughout the year, just like you did with the keyboarding and the pre-keyboarding that they do. You don't, like I said, you don't start it and finish it in this lesson. Okay, here's some ways that students solve problems. These are not addressed for a first grader. They probably won't understand a lot of the words, but they are, so rephrase them in words they'll understand, or ask them to. How would you say this? And they can actually even write it in their book then, down here. When they observe and collect data, that might be meaningless to them, but they can say it in their own way. So these are the common ways to solve problems. So you want them to be thinking about this. This will be revisited every year, so they'll see it over and over. And you want them to know that most problems can be solved with one of these strategies. Okay, hardware, we've talked about. You just keep going after that one. Here's a chart that shows the basic hardware problems and quick solutions. They have it in their book also, so they can look there. If the computer doesn't work, well, check the power. That's one way. There are a lot more, which they could annotate over here with their annotation tool. As they learn more, add it over here and then draw a line to that so they can see how it relates. And definitely, they're first graders. You're in their 6th week. What problems do you notice that they had last year, or are having this year, or the classroom teacher notices, or parents notice? Put those on the problem solving board and make sure you address those, because you want students to see that wherever the problem comes up, it's solvable. It's not just because they're in tech class and you're there to solve it for them. It's wherever they are, there's a solution for that problem. So here's some common problems. Here's some more. These are the ones you want them to know how to solve by the end of 5th grade, but not by the end of 1st grade. So this is a good start to a list, but you're going to make your own. So you want short keys. You want students to get comfortable using short keys rather than tools and toolbars. Some of them will like it better, some won't, but for all of them, there will be a short key that's easier to do than a tool and toolbar. And for some students, short keys are absolutely the way that they want to solve problems. They have a different way of learning, a different way of expressing themselves, and short keys are it. So you introduce it to everyone and let those that really gravitate towards them do that. So here's the common short keys that they will want to know. These, by the end of 1st grade, this should be no problem for them knowing. Then somewhere towards the end of the year, have a problem-solving challenge. You've kept track of all those problems that they had, a list, something like this. You probably have 25 or more on there. Let them study those for 10 minutes. Break the class into groups, give them a list of those problems and solutions, and then start quizzing them on it. Take the solutions. They can't use that as a cheat sheet, but ask them, group 1, present them with a problem, and they have to give you a solution. How would you exit a program? Okay, Alt F4. There are other ways, and they're allowed to use other solutions, but as long as they come up with one right one, they're right. If group 1 doesn't get the answer, go to group 2 and ask them the same question. If group 1 got it, you go to group 2 for a new question. They get points, or whatever you want to award, and then the winner overall gets whatever you want to award. It's up to you. So and you can, whatever amount of time you have is fine too. You can do this as a Jeopardy game. You can do it as Kahoot. You can do it whatever way suits you fine, but you're focusing on problem solving. Okay, so the exit ticket, which wouldn't be the same day you do the problem solving challenge, is to ask students to post a tech problem anonymously on your problem solving board. This gives you a really good collection of these sorts of problems that students are having. So now you know what they think is a problem. So do this before they leave. They have to share that problem with you. And I think that's about it. This is an example of what you might give them for free for the winner, a free, and they pick what they want here. It's just a list of 5 or 6 things that suit your class, and then they pick the one they want, give it to you. They've used up their free. Here's your problem solving board. Here's a poster you can put on your wall. And then differentiation, here's suggestions for you, and then I think the students have some, they'll go based on yours. Okay, guys, that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. Post them on our discussion board in our wiki. I'd be happy to help you. Have a great week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.